Hello everyone, we are here to present you about architecture. We will discuss about comparison between Pura Mangkunegaran from Indonesia and Queluz National Palace from Portugal. Before we start the debate, let's meet the team. It consists of Alya, Siti, Maulidiya, Della, Novarita, and Kholipiyana.
The Pura Mangkunegaran is a palace complex in the city of Surakarta, Central Java, Indonesia. It is the official palace and residence of the Duke of Mangkunegaran and his family. The palace complex is one of the centers of Javanese culture and contains a museum exhibiting royal artifacts of Mangkunegaran. The palace complex was built in 1757 following the style of Kraton by the command of the first Duke of Mangkunegaran. This royal palace was built after the Treaty of Salatiga was signed by Mangkunegarawan, Hamengkubuwono I, Pakubuwono III, and the VOC. Like any other palace in Java, the Pura Mangkunegaran had experienced several renovation, rejuvenation, change on its parts and structure, and also addition of popular European style on its architecture. Queluz National Palace is an 18th century palace located at Queluz, a city of the Sintra municipality in the Lisbon district on the Portugis Riviera. One of the last great Rococo buildings to be designed in Europe, the palace was conceived as a summer retreat for King Joseph I's brother, Pedro of Braganza, later to become husband and King Juro Auxiliaries to his own niece, Queen Maria I. It eventually served as a discreet place of incarceration for Maria I when she became afflicted by severe mental illness in the years following Pedro III's death in 1786. Following the destruction of Ajuda Palace by fire in 1794, Queluz Palace became the official residence of the Portuguese Prince Dom João and his family and remained so until the royal family fled to the Portuguese colony of Brazil. Work on the palace began in 1747 under Portuguese architect Matheus Vicente de Oliveira. Despite being far smaller, the palace is often referred to as the Portuguese Versailles. From 1826, the palace slowly fell from favor with the Portuguese sovereign. In 1908, it became the property of the state. Following a serious fire in 1934, which gutted one-third of the interior, the palace was extensively restored and today is open to the public as a major tourist attraction.
The next discussion is about some difference between Pura Mangkunegaran and Queluz National Palace. First, the work on the Pura Mangkunegaran building was carried out by Raden Mas Said or Prince Sambernyawa, who was the eldest son of 8th King of Mataram, namely Susuhunan Amangkurat V. Meanwhile, work on the Queluz National Palace building was carried out by Matheus Vicente de Oliveira, a Portuguese architect. Second, the main building of Pura Mangkunegaran faced south. This direction is associated with the existence of Ratu Kidul as the rulers of the South Sea, which symbolizes the palace's relationship with supranatural entities. This relationship has two functions, namely as a form of political legitimacy and asking for non-physical protection. Meanwhile, the main building of Queluz National Palace faced a large courtyard in the form of city square, as well as supporting buildings that face main building so that the king can see surroundings. Third, the Pura Mangkunegaran building is dominated by white, yellow, and green, which are the typical colors of the Mangkunegaran family. These three colors are also called Parianum colors. Meanwhile, the Queluz National Palace building is dominated by blue, yellow, and column red. 4. The size of the door and windows at Pura Mangkunegaran are smaller and shorter because it is adapted to climate or weather in Indonesia, which often rains to prevent water from entering. Meanwhile, the door and windows at Queluz National Palace are larger and taller because this style is characteristic of European architecture, including the Portugis. 5th, there is the use of Javanese architectural ornament, such as roof shape, caterpillar, and Javanese decoration on the walls of the Pura Mangkunegaran building. Meanwhile, at the Queluz National Palace, there is use of European architectural ornament, such as angel relief, stained glass, chandeliers, and other European-style decoration on the building.
Well, the next discussion is about the similarities between Pura Mangkunegaran and Queluz National Palace. The first one is about both of these palaces was built in 18th century. Pura Mangkunegaran had been built in 1757. Although the Queluz National Palace construction began in 1747 and proceeded rapidly. However, it was interrupted by the earthquakes of 1755. Consequently, the design of this palace had been readapted in 1758. Well, the second similarity is both of these buildings were built smaller than other palaces. For Pura Mangkunegaran, the Gianti Agreement, issued on February 13, 1755, caused the Mataram Islamic Kingdom to split into the Kasunanan of Surakarta and the Kesultanan of Yogyakarta. Sometime later, the Salatiga Agreement was issued, which split Surakarta into the Kasunanan and Pura Mangkunegaran. The Salatiga Agreement granted Raden Mas Said a domain of 4,000 karya and certain restrictions and powers. As a result, the Pura Mangkunegaran was built smaller than the other palaces. On the other hand, Queluz National Palace was originally intended as a summer retreat for King Joseph I of Portugal's brother Pedro de Braganza, and eventually became the husband of Queen Maria I. Later, it served as a discreet place of confinement for Maria I, who became severely mentally ill in the years following the death of Pedro III in 1786. The third similarity is both of these buildings had been influenced by ancient Rome. For Pura Mangkunegaran also features a European style in its architecture. This was in line with the European neoclassical movement of the middle 18th century. Pura Mangkunegaran adopted the Greek and Roman architectural styles, principally in its Baroque style. On the other hand, Queluz National Palace is among the last grand Rococo buildings designed in Europe. To satisfy the newly enriched aristocracy, Portuguese architects and artists incorporated classical ideas of architecture, derived from the Renaissance, into their design. In its final form, Queluz National Palace was a subversion of the earlier, more cumbersome Italian-influenced Baroque style which preceded the Rococo style throughout the Europe. Next, the fourth similarity is there were some properties imported from Italy. For Pura Mangkunegaran, The marble floor in Pura Mangkunegaraan's Pendapa was imported directly from Italy. When the weather became hot, the marble floor would be cooled. On the other hand, for Queluz National Palace, this interior of this palace features imported materials such as Genoese stone, Brazilian wood, Danish and Swedish wood, and also an Italian marble. And here the references that we used to build this discussion. And maybe that's all from us. Thank you for listening and have a great day.